All right, so if you guys don't have any particular questions for me, let's make sure we mute our microphone so that we don't hear a bunch of background conversations. But if you have a question, for sure, don't hesitate to ask, because, you know, maybe some of this stuff doesn't make sense. So you're only going to need a single dumbbell or kettlebell today, which I know all of our program involves that, but I think I've got a 35-pound kettlebell and a 25-pound dumbbell, and I'll probably be using both of them to demo some of the movements. Today has a focus on our posterior chain, so mostly hamstrings and glutes. There's obviously some upper body involvement with the first circuit, and then we have a little core circuit at the end. So this should be a good solid hour worth of stuff. All right, it's 10:33. I feel like we probably have everybody who we're gonna get on. So again, if you haven't taken a look at the chat, the warm-up is on there, but you don't need to sit there and continually look at it. I'll sit there and demo everything and talk everybody through it, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. Let me just pull up a different view. All right, beautiful. So for our warm-up, make sure we have a little bit of some space to move around in. All right, so our knee pull, we're just gonna stand in a neutral position, and I'm just gonna alternate pulling on my knee. And we're just gonna continually do this for about 30 seconds. The leg that's doing the work, the leg that you're balancing on, I want you to focus on squeezing your glute while you're in this knee pull position, okay? It actually helps with your stability. All right, we're gonna move on to our toe pulls, and we're gonna do essentially the opposite of that. So again, I'm gonna be balancing on one leg. I'm gonna grab the top of my foot, point my knee to the floor, get a good stretch, and then alternate. Again, the leg that's not doing, I'm sorry, the leg that is doing the work, the leg that's we're balancing on, squeeze that glute, and it'll help you with your balance. Nice and overcast today. I guess we're gonna be getting some rain for the next couple days. Not that we don't need it, but this past week was awesome with the weather. All right, so our alternating single leg deadlift into a jump, so deadlift jump. So standing on my left leg, I'm gonna come down and touch the floor with both hands. Up and jump. Other leg, up and jump. So from the side, I'm gonna try to maintain a neutral spine. Back leg kicks back. Both hands touch the floor, up, jump. And we're just gonna nice and slowly do that for about 60 seconds. Keep going. We've got about 20 more seconds.
Can you do
10 more seconds. Let's get a couple more reps in. Beautiful. Time. Let's get down into a push-up position. We're going to do a scapular push-up, just meaning I'm going to be in that push-up position. I'm going to let gravity take me, and I'm going to pinch those shoulder blades together. And then as far as I can, push myself away from the floor, just pushing those shoulder blades apart. So it'll look like this. Let's just get a set of 10. All right, pinch those shoulder blades together and then push them apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. From that same push-up position, we're going to do our torso rotation. So I'm going to get into my push-up position. I'm going to spread my feet just a little bit wide, so it'll give me a little more stability in my base. And we're going to do torso rotations. And we'll do that for about 30 seconds. Let me get a timer going. All right, beautiful. So get into that push-up position. I'm going to lift my right hand to the ceiling, rotate my torso, look over my right shoulder, come back to that same starting position, and then alternate looking over my left shoulder. All right, time. And then the last thing we are doing are some straight leg sit-ups. So again, you just want to sit on your butt. Imagine the back of your knee is glued to the floor. I'm going to come all the way back, throw those arms, keeping my legs straight. I'm going to come up, touch those toes, and then all the way back. And let's get 10 of those. All the way back, squeeze those glutes, lock those legs to the floor. All right. So those are our warm-up movements. We're gonna do that whole circuit just one more time. So I know some of you guys are coming from the 9 o'clock class and you're probably still a little warm, but some of us haven't already been working out for an hour. So we're gonna do this whole circuit one more time with the knee pulls and the toe pulls. Let's just get 10 in total. It'll be 5 each side. With the alternating single leg deadlift jumps, again, let's get 10 in total, 5 each side. And let's just do 10 of each one of these movements, working our way down through the knee pulls, toe pulls, single leg deadlift jumps, torso rotations, and straight leg sit-ups. So at your own pace, we'll probably give ourselves about another like 3 to 4 minutes, maybe a little bit more to finish this warm up, okay? Let's make sure we got a nice sweat going before we start moving some weight around.
I can do it with my phone.
Yes, you can do it with your phone.
I can do it. Oh, it's because I had Safari open. Oh, I see.
Whenever you get everything set up, just make sure you take your mic off, okay?
Sorry.
It's okay. Sounds like those good old Pasadena parrots are out. take a look, see how everybody's doing. Keep doing your warm-up, nice and easy pace. Oh, is there nothing in the chat anymore? Okay, I will re-enter all of the workouts. I can see them in mine, but if you can't see them, that's okay. I'll just re-enter the workouts.
Hey, Colin, I see all the workout there, man. It's all up there in the chat still.
Okay, I don't know. Somebody put in there that there's nothing in the chat, but
No, dude, we should all be on the same chat. It's there.
okay, cool. Cool. Well, nothing wrong with a little redundancy. I'll put it in there twice. I'm getting real good at this Zoom thing between teaching classes and doing school stuff.
If you put the, Colin, if you put all the information in and people who come in later won't see it.
Oh, well then I guess that's just not my problem, right? All right, cool. All right, beautiful. If you're not seeing the workouts, let me know. I guess most people can't see them. Looks like everybody for the most part is done with the warm-up. Let's take a look at our first circuit. It's going to be the 3 sets of 8 to 10 single arm hip thrust floor press. I know that's a lot of words. It's a movement. If you've done Power Hour, you've seen it before. We've done this before. It's essentially a floor press from our hip thrust position. I know most of us have a single piece of equipment, a dumbbell or a kettlebell. So we're going to do 8 to 10 each side, depending on how heavy your weight is. If you are lucky enough to have some decent weight, available to you, obviously the heavier, the better. But we want to be able to get those reps in nice and clean and maintain that hip thrust position throughout. So I'm going to demo it, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So it's really important while doing this hip thrust press, this hip thrust floor press, that you don't only focus on the press part of it, but we're actually being really, really active and driving our heels through the floor and having that active hip thrust position throughout. Okay, we're going to do our hip thrust press, and then we're going to go straight into 20 hip thrusts with a 3-second pause, and I'm going to do the cadence for that. All right, so I'll make sure everybody's done with the floor press before we start the hip thrust with a 3-second pause at the top. All right, so let me just demo both of the movements. We'll field any questions you guys have, and then we'll go ahead and get started. First things first, to get into that hip thrust position, I want to lay flat. My heels are close to my butt. They don't have to be as close as I can possibly get them, but they're fairly close to my butt and they're about hip width, right? So this is going to be my starting position. From here, I'm going to get my weight and I'm going to drive my hips into that hip thrust position. So I'm pushing through my heels, pushing my hips to the sky, and I'm bracing myself on my heels and my shoulders, right? And that's the only thing that's in contact with the floor. I'm really, really active right here in my hips, or my hamstrings and my glutes, and I'm driving my hips to the ceiling. From here, I'm going to perform my presses. And this is going to be our hip thrust floor press, all right? Throughout the entire movement, I really want to focus on driving my heels through the floor, driving my hips as high as I can get them, really, really activating those glutes. You should feel those glutes really start to burn as you're sitting there and holding this static position throughout that floor press position. So once we get done with both reps, I'm going to take my weight, whether it's a kettlebell or a dumbbell, I'm going to set it in my hips, I'm going to hold it there, and then we're going to do our hip thrust with a 3-second pause. So that's going to look like is, again, I'm going to drive my hips up. I will count the cadence. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, down, and then right back up. 1, 2, 3, 2, down, right back up. 1, 2, 3, 3, down, and that touch of the ground is like an afterthought. It's down, right back up, all right? So a majority of the time, we're gonna be in that active hip thrust position, okay? So now that I've demoed everything, do we have any questions? You know, and that's okay. If you guys have some, please ask, but.
The ground is completely the heel, so toes should not be touching.
I prefer to just have the heels down because it's really going to prevent me from pushing off the balls of my feet. And once I start pushing off the balls of my feet, I won't be activating those glutes as much as I will be if I'm driving through the heels. So I personally prefer to just have my heels down and my toes up, but you can have your feet flat just as long as you know you're pushing through those heels.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
It looked like you did a rotation with the dumbbell, but if I'm going to use a kettlebell, I'm assuming there's no rotation. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. And that's kind of personal preference. I don't think that really doesn't change the movement a whole lot. So if I'm using a kettlebell, yeah, it's just going to be a straight press up and back down. I do have a tendency to kind of finish my presses, whether it's a bench press or whatnot, with that rotation, but I don't think it's completely necessary. That's kind of just like a, you know, an old Globo gym tick that I have that I can't get rid of. So I don't think it changes the movement too much. All right. Any other questions? No. Beautiful. All right. So it's 8 to 10 reps of a floor press on each side. And let's complete that before we move on to the next, because it really will help if I can count the cadence, the 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, and so on, so that it keeps everybody on track, okay? So let's go ahead and get set up, get into that, that laying flat position, get those heels close to your butt, and then get the weight set, you know, get that weight ready, and then drive those hips to the ceiling, all right? Driving through those heels, you should feel those glutes really, really active, all right? And then sit there and perform your floor presses while you're pushing those hips to the ceiling. Those hips should stay as high as you can possibly get them, all right? Driving through those heels, active glutes. We're getting those glutes woke because we're gonna really light them up with those 20 hip thrusts with a 3-second pause. And this is one of those things that's gonna show you, you don't need a ton of weight to really get a good glute workout. It looks great. So far, it looks great from everybody.
Colin, are we doing all 3 sets and then we're moving on to the hip thrusts, or?
No, we're just going to do 1 set of floor press, and then we're going to go into our hip thrust, and then we're going to return to those. So
Okay.
that's all. Yeah, that's okay. That's a good question. So let's get those hip thrust floor presses in, 8 to 10 reps on each side. When you're done, just hang tight for a second, grab a sip of some coffee. It's always delicious. Unless you don't drink coffee. And then I feel bad for you. All right, so if you are done with the hip thrust floor press, let's get ready. Looks like for the most part, everybody's done. All right. If you would like, I would recommend using some weight for the hip thrust with the 3-second count. So if you have some weight, I like setting it right here on my hips, if it's comfortable. So I'm gonna get set up. I'm gonna do the first couple reps with you so you guys can see it, and then I'm gonna sit there and watch. So heels are down, weight is resting on my hips. Feet are about hip width. All right, let's all get set in 3, 2, 1. Let's drive those hips to the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 8. 1, 2, 3, 9. 1, 2, 3, 10. Halfway there. 1, 2, 3, 11. 1, 2, 3, 12. 1, 2, 3, 13. 1, 2, 3, 14. 1, 2, 3, 15. 1, 2, 3, 16. 1, 2, 3, 17. 3 more. 1, 2, 3, 18. 1, 2, 3, 19. Big push. 1, 2, 3, 20. Beautiful. All right. And for me, even with just a 25-pound dumbbell, that was good. All right. So we got 1 set in. Now that we've done a full set with each one of those movements, do we have any other questions? Any concerns? Did anybody not really feel it in their glutes? If so, we can kind of make some adjustments for you. Nope, everybody looks good. Beautiful. All right, grab a sip of water or coffee. And then we're gonna jump right back into it and get our second set started. All right, so let's go ahead and lay flat. Let's grab our dumbbell. Let's get into that hip thrust position, right? Active, our glutes are nice and woke right now. They're nice and warm. And let's get those floor presses in, all right? Driving those hips through the sky, pushing through those heels, all right? Driving those weights directly over our shoulder, right? Engaging that core. This is a unilateral pressing movement. We really got to keep that core nice and active so we're not rotating our torso too much. Maybe a little overcast, but it's still almost kind of like muggy outside. I'm sweating my butt off. Nice, Andy. Very nice. All right, let's get all the reps on one side, get all of the reps on the other side. When you're done, just hang tight and we'll do our hip thrusts again, and we'll do them together. I feel like it does help to have somebody else count that cadence for you. If not, that 3 seconds starts diminishing. All right, beautiful. Looks like everybody is done with their floor press. Let's get into position. Let's get that weight resting on our hips. Position your heels nice and close to your glutes. They don't have to be as close as you can possibly get them, but you do want them close so you get a greater range of motion. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get those hips up. And 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. Down and then right back up. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 8. 1, 2, 3, 9. 1, 2, 3, 10. Halfway. 1, 2, 3, 11. 1, 2, 3, 12. 1, 2, 3, 13. 1, 2, 3, 14. 1, 2, 3, 15. 1, 2, 3, 16. 1, 2, 3, 17. Last 3. Get them up. 1, 2, 3, 18. 1, 2, 3, 19. Last one, big drive. 1, 2, 3, 20. Beautiful. Set your weight off to the side. Catch a little breather. Grab a sip of some water.
Oh, those are awful.
You mean awesome? Awesome. Yes, thank you.
No, awful.
Yeah,
I mean, we may, what, say it again?
we normally do, I remember doing like much more weight than that. Is it because we're doing the pause, the hold?
Yes, yes, exactly. It's the hold that really starts. Yeah, yeah. Well, and it just shows you from even from home with a little bit of weight, you know, you can still work on those glutes. Definitely. You know, the biggest muscle group of the body for sure. I mean, it helps to have some decent amount of weight, but if you don't have it, no big deal. No excuses. You can still get some work in. All right, last set, you guys. Let's go ahead and get into our hip thrust position. Grab your weight, get into that hip thrust position. Let's get, again, 8 to 10 floor press each side, really keeping those glutes nice and active, driving those hips to the ceiling, pushing through those heels. Really make sure, do a little check and make sure you're not pushing through your balls of your feet, pushing through those heels. That's why I honestly prefer to do the heels down, toes up, just because it's like a little check for myself, knowing that I'm not gonna get out of position. All right, once you've gotten your presses for both sides, let's grab our weight. Let's get situated. Let's get ready for our hip thrust. This is our last set of our hip thrust with a 3-second pause. So let's grab that weight. Let's set it on our hip. Get those heels close to your butt, about hip width. And remember, the down part is just an afterthought. Your butt touches the ground. As soon as it's touched the ground, you're going to drive through those heels, driving those hips back up to the ceiling, okay? Let's all get set in 3, 2, 1. Let's get those hips up. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 8. 1, 2, 3, 9. 1, 2, 3, 10. 1, 2, 3, 11. 1, 2, 3, 12. 1, 2, 3, 13. 1, 2, 3, 14. 1, 2, 3, 15. 1, 2, 3, 16. 1, 2, 3, 17. Last 3. 1, 2, 3, 18. 1, 2, 3, 19. Last one, big drive. 1, 2, 3, 20. Beautiful, beautiful. Nice work, everyone. Set your weight to the side. Grab a sip of some water. All right, once you've grabbed some water, pull up the group chat again and let's take a look at our next circuit. These are 2 leg movements. We have a single leg, straight leg or Romanian deadlift. So 8 to 10 reps of a single leg deadlift each leg. And I'll demo that and go over some of the coaching points on that. And then we have 10 single leg, single dumbbell or kettlebell suitcase squat. And this is kind of like a form of a Bulgarian split squat that you don't need a bench for. All right. So it's real simple. You'll see it and you'll go, okay, I've seen this before. I've done this before. So let me just demo those and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. Come on, Matt. Yeah, can you bring her inside? All right. So with our single leg Romanian deadlift, you really want to focus on being able to keep those hips squared so that I'm not coming down and opening those hips. I also want to try to keep my shoulders level throughout the movement. It's good to use the leg that's not doing the work as a counter lever, right? Really throwing that leg back will help me maintain a neutral spine, right? As soon as I'm here, I'm going to have a tendency to round my back. And I see that's usually the biggest fault that we see when people are doing single leg deadlifts is they don't keep that back in a neutral position. They end up trying to reach for the floor or they're off balance. And instead of it going from here, it becomes here, right? And we're just not getting as much out of it if we can, unless we can keep that neutral spine position. So you want to keep that back as flat as possible. And again, it really helps by using your other leg as a counter lever, right? And counterbalance. The leg that's on the floor is the one that's doing the work. We're going to be holding our weight in the opposite arm. So if I'm standing on my left leg, I'm going to be holding the weight in my right arm, right? I would like to find a place where I'm balanced before I initiate the movement, right? I personally like to just get a quick balance. From here, I'm going to perform my single leg deadlift. Nice and controlled. 1, 2. All right, from the side, again, left leg's doing the work. I have the dumbbell or the kettlebell in my right arm. The weight doesn't have to touch the floor. If it does, and you can maintain a neutral position, great. If you can't, and you can just get to about your knee or just below knee, that's okay too, right? It's not worth making the dumbbell or kettlebell touch the floor if we're compromising our midline and all of a sudden we're starting to hunch forward. So that is going to be our single leg deadlift, and it's going to be all 8 to 10 on one leg, and then switch legs, all 8 to 10 on the other. All right. Now we have our single kettlebell or dumbbell suitcase squat. And I've seen this called different things. I'm just calling it a suitcase squat because we're holding the weight at our side. I'm going to get into this lunge position, and I'm holding the weight on the, I'm going to hold it on the same side. That is the leg that's doing the work. So the lead leg is the one doing the majority of the work, and it's just basically up and down lunge from this position. I'm holding the weight on the same side of the leg that's doing the majority of the work. Back knee lightly touches the ground. I'm focusing on keeping my shoulders over my hips, right? I don't want to come down here and I'm pitched forward, right? You really want to focus on keeping a nice upright torso throughout this movement. All right. Leg doing the work is your lead leg. You're gonna have the weight on the same side, which is the opposite of what we did for our single leg deadlift. So let's field some questions. Anybody have any questions about these movements?
Are we supersetting or just finishing the 3 and then going to the other 3?
Superset.
Okay.
Superset, yeah. We'll go deadlift, suitcase squat, and do all your deadlifts, just meaning do both sides. Do right leg, left leg. So finish your deadlifts, move on to your suitcase squats. Again, right leg, left leg, and then rest. Okay. Miho, if your leg on the floor is the one doing the work, you want to hold the kettlebell or the weight in the opposite hand. Does that make sense to you guys? I'm not going to be holding the weight. Say my left leg is doing the work. I'm not holding the weight in my left hand, right? I'm holding it in the opposite. Left leg doing the work, holding the weight in my right hand. I know you guys think that the leg that's out here in middle in space doing something is the one doing the work. It's not. The one that you're standing on is the one doing the work. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. All right, beautiful. So let's go ahead and get started. 8 to 10 straight leg deadlifts each side, and then 8 to 10 suitcase squats each side. You don't have to go real heavy with this. You actually get a lot more out of it if you're using weight that you can control. All right. Neutral spine, neutral spine. If you feel like you're reaching for the floor and your back is rounding, then you're not maintaining a neutral spine. You really want your back to be as flat as possible. Kick that leg back. And if that means that the weight doesn't touch the floor, that's okay. Again, the weight does not have to touch the floor. If you're mobile enough and you have enough control and it can't touch the floor, beautiful, great, but it doesn't have to. All right, and then we have our suitcase squats. This time we are gonna hold the weight on the same side. I don't wanna be super narrow because I'm gonna lose my balance. So I'm gonna have my feet a little bit wide. Nice big lunge in between them both. Down, up. And do a little self-check. Make sure you're keeping those shoulders over those hips in that suitcase squat. You want a nice upright torso. We don't want to be pitched forward, starting to put pressure on our low back. Let those legs do all the work. Torso is upright. Your shoulders should be directly over your hips. Again, you don't need a ton of weight. If you have really strong legs and you want to challenge yourself, great. But this is one of those things where moderate amount of weight really starts to become effective. And if you're having a hard time keeping those shoulders over those hips, you may be in a little bit too narrow of a stance. So get into a little bit of a wider lunge, and it helps you in that nice upright position. If I'm real narrow, it's kind of hard to stay in that position. I start hinging at the hips. So try a wider distance in between those legs helps keeping that nice upright torso position. We're going to give ourselves about 60 to 90 seconds of rest at the end of each set, and then we'll get back into our single leg deadlifts, okay? So give yourself a little bit of rest, grab a sip of water, and then get back into those single leg deadlifts. Again, focusing on keeping your back nice and neutral. Let those hamstrings do the work. Don't feel like you have to reach for the floor. Go down as far as your range of motion will allow you while maintaining that neutral spine. Slow and controlled is going to be the name of the game for this movement. Nice, MJ. Man, I'm not even really working out. I'm sweating my butt off out here. It is muggy outside. I feel like I'm back in Florida. Nice, Debbie. Those are beautiful. Showing off that balance. Nice, Liz. Way to keep your back nice and flat. That looked perfect. Jasmine, you too. Those are like picture perfect. I feel like somebody should do like a YouTube video demoing the single leg deadlift. That looks perfect, Jasmine. All right, once you're done with those deadlifts, get into those suitcase squats. Weight on the same side as the lead leg. The lead leg is the one that's doing a majority of the work. Again, get in a nice wide split. It'll help you maintain the nice upright torso. All right, focus on that upright torso. Knock out 8 to 10 on each leg and rest. Those are burners. Those are burners. Beautiful, Heather. Good job. Those look perfect. You too, Laura. All right, we're doing 3 sets in total. So if you have finished your second set of suitcase squats, give yourself a quick rest, and then let's knock out that last set.
You can play that louder.
Yeah, can you guys hear that? I've been on a big 80s kick lately. It's like all I want to listen to is 80s music. I think it's the mustache that's doing it to me. Nice, April.
This is supposed to hurt your butt, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, those single leg deadlifts, if done correctly, man, they are super effective. Like if I don't do these for a little while and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do some single leg deadlifts, even if I'm deadlifting regularly, these will get my butt sore because they just really target those glutes way more so than doing a traditional deadlift. There's just kind of no way around not activating those glutes in that single leg deadlift. Well, I mean, I guess if you're doing them wrong, it won't activate your glutes. But if you're doing them correctly, yeah, they really are a potent exercise and really, you know, helpful in adding some glute strength, which we all need, right? More glute strength. When we're done with this, grab a sip of water, and we have a core circuit, which I have not tried this one yet. I kind of just came up with it. A lot of times, I try to do these exercises before I put them together. So fingers crossed that this is not too hard. And the 1/4 Turkish get up sounds weird, but when I show it to you, it'll make sense. You guys just focus on doing what you're doing. Keep finishing those suitcase squats. Focus on keeping those shoulders over those hips, nice and tall. Let that lead leg do all the work. All right, we got a couple people still working, so you guys just take your time, finish your sets. If you're done, just hang tight. We'll still need a kettlebell or a dumbbell for our ab circuit, and so just keep it handy.
Is
All
your
right.
lower back supposed to hurt doing the deadlifts?
I don't know if it's supposed to hurt, but I think doing single leg deadlifts, like if your back does feel a little bit tight, I feel like that's not uncommon, right? I mean, we are activating our hamstrings and glutes, and we were doing, you know, a bunch of glute exercises right into another glute exercise. So I feel like if your glutes are a little tight, which in turn will make your low back feel a little bit tight, that's probably not uncommon. But that just means you're going to have to take a little bit of time and do a little bit of some stretching after this. But
Okay.
yeah, sorry, Miho. All right, so let's take a look at the core circuit. I'll demo everything. Let's knock it out. So we're going to do a 1/4 Turkish get up, 20 seconds of rest, and it's going to be 30 seconds each side. So it's going to be a full minute of that. And then it's going to be 20 seconds of rest. We have 30 seconds of alternating knee to elbow plank. And I'll demo that as well. 20 seconds of rest, and then 30 seconds of a side plank on each side. So a full minute of side plank. All right, so let me just demo the 1/4 Turkish get up. So I'm going to lay down flat. The side that has the weight in its hand, I'm going to place that foot down. The other arm is outstretched. And from here, I'm just gonna get into the sitting, almost sitting position, and then back down. So it's essentially like a Turkish sit-up, but this is the beginning part of our Turkish get-up. All right, let me show it to you from the other side. Again, the weight is in my right hand. I'm gonna place my right foot flat on the floor. My left arm is extended. My right arm is extended above my chest. I'm gonna drive up into a seated position and back down. All right, so that's our 1/4 Turkish get up. Our plank with our knees to elbows. I'm gonna take my right knee, left elbow, left knee, right elbow. And I'm just gonna alternate in that plank position. And then finally our side plank. You can either do it on your palm or on your elbow, either one are fine. You can either stack your feet, put one foot out in front of you to give you some more assistance, stack your feet one in front of the other. What we really wanna focus on is keeping this shoulder over the other shoulder, right? So if you're looking at me from this angle, I should be right shoulder over left shoulder. I don't want to be hunched over like this. My right shoulder is over my left shoulder. My feet can be stacked. My arm can be in the air. But again, I want those shoulders stacked one on top of the other, okay? I know a lot of times we do side planks and you see people not be able to maintain this position. They're like this, right? And we really don't want that. You're not getting a lot out of that, all right? So let's field some questions.
Can you do the second one again?
Oh, the alternating knee to elbow, yeah. So it starts just like I would a push-up position, right? Starting in a push-up position, I'm gonna take my right knee to my left elbow, left knee, right elbow. If they don't touch, that's okay. We're just going in that direction. Can you guys see it okay? I can't tell from here.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? When we do that quarter Turkish get up, let's get all the way into a sitting position. So right arm, right leg, left arm extended. I'm gonna drive up. Seated position, back down, up, back down, up, back down. So we're gonna go 30 seconds on one side. We'll switch. We'll go 30 seconds on the other, and then we'll move on to other movements. Any other questions? These are all good questions. No? All right, beautiful. So let me get my clock set up. All right, let's lay down flat. Let's get a weight in our hand. All right, let's get ready for our quarter Turkish get-ups. All right, remember the leg that's planted on the floor is the same side that you're holding the weight in. We're gonna go 30 seconds on one arm. I'm gonna give us some downtime for our transition and then we'll switch, all right? So let's get ready in 3, 2, 1, and work. Again, nice and controlled, nice and controlled. Down and back up. Big drive, driving that weight to the ceiling all the way until you're in that seated position and then back down. Nice, Jasmine. Nice, Miho. All right, everybody looks pretty good so far. All right, that was 30 seconds. Let's switch hands and switch legs. All right, in 3, 2, 1, and go. Nice, Laura. Almost there. We got 5 seconds. And time. Rest. We're going to take 20 seconds of rest. We're going to get into our alternating knee to elbow planks. Again, that starts in the push-up position. We're taking opposite knee and elbow, trying to get our knee to the opposite side elbow. Again, this is one of those movements where volume is not really the name of the game, slow and controlled. All right, let's get ready. We got 30 seconds in 3, 2, 1, and work. Slow and controlled. Right knee to left elbow, left knee to right elbow. Squeezing those abs, squeezing those obliques, crunching that midline. And time. Good. We're going to take 20 seconds and we're going to go into our side planks. This is your opportunity to really be conscious in your side plank and modify it as you need, but are your shoulders stacked above each other, right? Are your shoulders stacked? Because if they're not, you're not getting the most out of it. So really, really think about that and modify as need be. If your feet are stacked on top of each other, great. If they're in front of each other, that's okay. If you have them a little bit wider apart to give yourself a little bit more balance, that's okay as well. All right, let's get set. 30 seconds in 3, 2, 1, and go. Beautiful, very nice. I'm just gonna have a video of Debbie doing it, and we'll all just do it like Debbie. I can't see Jane, but I bet Jane's doing it perfect too. Come on, almost there. Keep holding, and time. Beautiful, time. Let's come down. Let's get ready to do the other side. All right, let's get into position in 3, 2, 1, and work. Another 30 seconds, you guys. Stack those shoulders, driving your hip to the ceiling, being as static as possible, holding that movement, squeezing everything, finding that balance. We've got 10 seconds. Keep holding. In 5, and rest. Good, rest. All right, beautiful. We're gonna take a short little break, not quite 60 seconds, but enough for you to just rest a second, and then we're gonna get back into our Turkish get-up, our 1/4 Turkish get-up. Everybody looked really good. After having done the movement, now, does anybody have any other questions about that 1/4 Turkish get-up? It looked like everybody was doing it really well, but if you have any questions about it or you're not sure if you were doing it right, let me know. Okay, beautiful. All right, let's get into position. Let's lay flat on our back. Let's put a weight in our hand. Remember, bend the leg of the same side that you're holding the weight in, right? And that'll kind of give you some stability and help with that initial drive. All right, 1/4 Turkish get-ups for 30 seconds in 3, 2, 1, and work. And time. All right, let's switch hands, switch legs. We got another 30 seconds on the opposite side. Let's get ready in 3, 2, 1, and work. 30 seconds, you guys. Big drive straight up, squeezing those abs. Nice, slow and controlled. Just like all the other ab exercises we're doing today, control is key. Slow and controlled is much more effective and efficient than just banging out a whole bunch of sloppy reps. We're almost there. And time. All right, we're going to take 20 seconds and then we'll get into our knee to elbow. All right, let's get into that plank position in 3, 2, 1, and go. Alternating knee to elbow. And time. All right, again, we're going to take about 20 seconds. We're going to get into those side planks. It looks like everybody was doing a really good job about being conscious about keeping those shoulders stacked. It's just one of those little fine details that'll make this movement a lot more efficient. All right, let's get ready in 3, 2, 1, side plank. Good, stack those shoulders, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your abs. Let's keep working. And time. All right, let's transition to the other side. All right, in 3, 2, 1, go. And time. All right, you guys, so it was just 2 rounds of our core today because I had a feeling we were going to run a little bit over. So thank you so much